I hope it's visible. Okay, on today's class, we will be learning about CSS Essentials. So, introduction to CSS. CSS is a cascading style sheets in full. It is a language used to describe the presentation of HTML documents. Think of HTML as a skeleton and CSS as the outfit or makeup and drip, what you're wearing. So without CSS, the web would look like a one document from 2 or 3 to look quite blank. So CSS controls layout, colors, fonts, spacing, responsiveness. CSS allows developers to separate content, which is HTML, from presentation, making websites easier to maintain and scale. So why is CSS important? It enhances visual appeal and usability, ensures consistency across pages, enable responsiveness, that's whereby you can view a page in a mobile phone, laptop, and different screen sizes. It improves accessibility and user experience. You as a user uses the website or the web app easily. So without CSS, websites would be plain and difficult to navigate. So fun fact, you as a user, you judge a website in 0.05 seconds. That's why when you write your CSS, it should be visually appealing. So how does CSS work? CSS works by applying rules to HTML elements. A CSS rule consists of selector, which target HTML elements, property specifies what to change, and value defines how it should be changed. So the browser reads these rules and applies them when rendering the page. Example, as human, you can say, hey, browser, make this text blue and big, please. So basic CSS syntax, there is P, which means paragraph. Our color is blue, font size 16px. So P is the selector, color and font size the property, and then blue and 16px are the values. Let's go to a practical example. Ways to apply CSS is inline CSS. Apply directly to an HTML element, not recommended for large projects due to its lack of usability. So our example is we style this text as, let me escape. Okay. Hope you can hear me and see my documents, but I'm not talking alone. So in inline CSS, for example, this document, you can say h1 style equals color blue or pink. Okay, let's say pink. Then we'll save our work and open. Okay, you can see our hello world has turned pink. That is how you use inline styling in your HTML file. Let's move on. So, internal CSS. You define inside a style tag in the HTML document useful for small projects. So in internal CSS, you put your style on the header and then you style it. You style your HTML as seen here. So we can test it practically. Can write our style. Okay. Let's set our background color to blue, maybe. Let's style our header. Let's save and see what happens. You can see there our background is turned to blue, our hello world is centered, and as you can see these changes. So let's move on. So as seen in internal CSS, you just write your CSS inside your HTML file. You just style in your header and reference your body. So there is external CSS. This is the recommended type of writing CSS files. So it's written in a specific CSS file. It promotes reusability and clean structure because it will be two different files, hence it will be less scattered. So in HTML file, you will link your style sheet. Let's call it style CSS and then style our body. So we can create a new file, styles.css. We can remove this style. Then we can directly add it here. Don't have to use these tags. So we as seen in our documentation, we have to link our file. So we use this link to fetch our styles from style.css. So we can change our background or write it in any color. You can use X digits too. Yeah, let's save and view our changes. I open it with Live Server. Okay. Let's make some changes for us to see the difference. Let's make a background pink, white, red. Okay, light blue maybe. Let's do red. Okay, nice. You can see our background has changed and hello world is centered as normal. We can style more, but I guess yeah, you can add more styles as you prefer. It's color. You can see our text has changed to white. Yeah, that's about external CSS as we have checked. So yeah, let's move on. So CSS selectors tell CSS what to style. Element PH1, we have been using elements so far. There is a class reusable styles. There is ID, this is a unique element. Think of selectors as calling someone's name in a crowd because everyone has a unique name. So yeah, and people can share names too. Selectors is like calling that class. So how do we, an example of a selector it is, this is a class selector, dot highlight, then you style it, then you can call the class here. So let's code it. For now, let's remove this linking factor. Style. Then we can say don't. You can call your class any name, but it should be self-explanatory for you not to be confused. So yeah, our container where text will align center and margin top will be 50. So let's call our class. So yeah, we have created a div of our class, which is container, color, pink, hello world, or we can name it first master class. Master class. Let our color be purple this time around. Let's save our file and open it. You can see our text is centered. First master class. It's it's written in color purple as we told our CSS to do. So colors, you can use colors in either their names, X, which start with hash as we saw before. Then RGB. RGB is whereby you define color by its RGB values. Here you can see 25500. Colors make your site go from to wow. It makes it beautiful. So typography in CSS, typography affects readability and user experience. So key properties include font family, font size, font weight, line height, text align. Like when you're writing your CSS, you can say text align center, text align left, text align right. Yeah. So we can use it in our code. Font family, let's style our page one, or font family, font size, line height. We can check it out practically. So font family, we can choose any of your choice. Use sans serif together with header. Then font size. We can say small, large. You can choose any size you want. Let's choose large. Then check out what has changed. No, I keep opening with live server. You can see first masterclass text has changed. Its font size and font family. It has changed from how it appeared. So let's go on. The CSS box model Every HTML element is treated as a rectangular box. The box model consists of content, the actual text or image inside the box, padding, space between the content and the bunda, line that wraps around the padding and content, margin, space outside the bunda, separating elements. So understanding the box model is very essential because you need an accurate layout control because HTML and CSS, for me, I find them like boxes stand together to make something usable. So in box model, you can style your box with either class, ID, then you can call a body. We will call that later. Then there is layout techniques which follow the box layout. CSS provides multiple layout systems, normal flow, default document layout is Flexbox, that is one dimensional. It only contains rows or columns. Green, two-dimensional layout. And then Flexbox and Grid are essential tools for modern layouts. So we can check out Flexbox example. Flex example. Okay, say dev class. Okay, let me check out the code. Sorry. Flex. So as you can see, a div style it displays flex. Then we define flex direction, column, align item. We are aligning our items center. Align item center, justify content center, height. Height is added, pH, but you can use any number you are comfortable with or your page needs. So you can see our first master class text is moved to the center. So Flex saves the person a lot of time in styling, or yeah, it is a time saver. Let's move to green example. So here we will display green. Let's create a green example div. Sorry, first to start with a div. Yeah, so let it have different text, maybe, yay, learning grade. Then we can save and check out the changes, browser, the issue. Okay, this can be H2 I used. Let's see if it works. No, it's not happening. Oh, yeah. I haven't closed my div. We're going wrong. Yeah, it is. So for grade, learning about grade. So let's see what the difference between the two. You can style it more to see the difference. So okay, what's to explain more about grade and flex? So in Flexbox, it's kind of what is used in modern styling. You can use either Flex or Grid, whatever preference, but they are essential tools for arranging your website. For example, let's search up a website and check our example. Those boxes, semi contacts, you have contact session, about me session, yeah, such sessions in our websites or pages. We use Flexbox and Green to style that. Let's continue styling and see. So let's move to responsive design. Responsive design ensures website work on all screen sizes. There is key techniques to that. We use media queries, we use flex units, percentage, rem. Use of responsive images. So responsive design is a core requirement in modern web development because most of the people are using mobile phones to browse. There's other using laptops, but mostly used devices are mobile phones. So we need to go with the flow. And now there are even foldable devices. So yeah, let's write up an example to show responsive designing. So let's say that's our div style. We can start up a style here. So small letters. Let's do a style. So let's use maybe media at media screen. Okay, we can accept that since it's correct. So our max width is 768px. So our font size to screens below 768 will be medium. Can say so. Wherever screen you're watching from, the text will appear the same. Let's try minimizing. I don't know if, yeah, you can see. Text appears the same no matter the size of the screen. It can be small, it can be big. This happens due to responsive styling using media that we have used here. So let's move on. So CSS specificity and cascading. When multiple rules apply, CSS decides which one wins using specificity. Specificity is a measure of how specific selector is. The more specific it is, the higher the priority it gets. So, for example, you are using a P and a class and a ID, then ID will be prioritized over class because it's more specific. ID is whereby we use hash ID of something, then we call that ID. Then source order. If two rules have exactly the same specificity, the latter rule in the CSS wins, whereby the what is following. For example, here we can see P color blue. Ignore this important. So P color green. Our paragraph will be green because it's the green which follows. So there is importance. The importance declaration overrides normal, specificity, and source order. So when you use important, the color blue will show in your paragraph. Understanding this prevent unexpected styling issues. Common CSS mistakes: overusing important, poor naming conventions. You should name how you will understand when you're reading your code. Ignoring responsiveness, lack of structure in style sheets. So use external styles, best practices. Write reusable class-based styles in G by using classes, IDs. Keep CSS modular and organized. Comment complex sections. Best practices help you work in teams, improving collaboration and long-term maintenance, because your website needs to be maintained. In conclusion, okay, we can check out examples of CSS specificity and cascade before going to our conclusion. So let's do that. So, okay, we have font size, we have color green, and then we add another color, maybe blue. Check out if I'm speaking facts. You can see our text has turned in blue rather than green. Okay, let's check it out. It's blue. So the HTML took this styling here. We can put important here and see if it makes a difference. Let's do important. Is it written like that? Yeah, it's green. You can see our text has turned into green after adding important. Yeah, so that's it. Let's conclude our yeah. Conclusion: CSS is a foundational skill for web developers. Mastering CSS enables you to build professional interfaces, create responsive designs, improve user experience, and strong CSS skills complement JavaScript and backend development. How does it complement it? CSS is like the decoration, what makes your room be pretty. The paint, the flowers, and the framed pictures, all that. Yeah, that marks the end of my session. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Questions and clarifications are welcome. Any question? Suggestion? Okay, on the matter of Flexbox and Grid, how about using a long paragraph like two to be specific? I didn't quite get it. Okay, let's do that. Just a minute. Oh, I've been sharing my screen. So. Let's see. Okay, that's the difference between Grid and Flexbox. Let me explain using the code. So Flexbox are kind of 2D, if I'm not wrong. Let me refer. Yeah, here we are. Flexbox is 1 dimension, Grid is 2 dimension, I said. So here is our styling. You can see the difference. Here we are using, sorry, here we are using fractions, 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. Our gap is 10px. This is for grid. And then here we are using just a padding, whereby okay, we are not using this display gridded whatever. Here we are displaying flex gap 10px only. That's the only code you write. Here we are displaying and creating a green template. Yeah, those colors coming up. Green template. So when you run it, it appears this. So you can see these are more of 2-dimensional. Yeah, we can go more about that. I'm out of. Here we can go to W3 schools. Check it out. So Flexbox is a layout model of arranging items. You can arrange them horizontal or vertically within a container. You can see the
Uh,
difference.
Valentine, I think James was asking specifically having two paragraphs. So, like instead of a div, you can have maybe only two, instead of three divs, you can have two paragraphs each. You can just use like Lorem 100 or Lorem 50 to auto generate like the words, but he specifically wants to see the example of two paragraphs.
Oh, Okay, let's write a paragraph. Okay.
I think in that, instead of like you writing a lot, you can use like lorem 50 to generate 50 words.
Do I have it?
Instead of clicking, I think that will give you a random number, not sure how many. Add 50 after the lorem before pressing enter. So that it, but I think I'm not sure how long that is. It might also just be good.
Let's see. So is that it?
Yeah, so like now the flex example to have two paragraphs and the grid to have two paragraphs.
Oh, nice.
In the meantime, James, also if I can add on top of that, what the main difference between flex and grid is when you want a fixed layout that it must always be like that, that's when you use grid. For example, in this interface that you're currently using to watch this video, you'll find that uh, if you're on your laptop, you'll see that on the right is where the chart will always be. That size will always be fixed. Even if someone types a long message or a short message, it's not going to expand that chart window, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in terms of yeah, I think yeah, you can see in this one, regardless of the text of the size, if it is the number three or there is a long paragraph, both of them, they are taking up the same width. So that layout will always be like that. But you can see in the example of flex, the box resizes according to the content. If there is only a small content like the number three, you see that the box is small. But if there is uh, a large content, the content will expand uh, to to fill it. And basically, use cases for this, if you're building, let's say, like an e-commerce platform, right? In your e-commerce platform, you can both options work. This is one thing. Like you'll find that there are instances where you can use either, right? Like you go to Jumia right now. If you are on mobile, you're going to be viewing two products in a row, two products in a row. So two, the next row, two, the next row, two. So you can see to achieve those two products, you can either you can use Flex, and the container will need to have uh, a limit, like it will need to have a fixed width, right? So that maybe it doesn't, to ensure that all cards or containers for each product that you're viewing they are exactly the same size, because you don't want one to be shorter because there was no description, and another one to be longer. Or maybe even when sellers upload images, you know that there are horizontal images and there are vertical images, right? So like you see, like even that, if a seller decided to upload a horizontal image, you don't want one product to be the card of one product to be bigger than another. So like you need to limit the width, but something like grid automatically limits the width for you, right? That's one thing you have to do in Flex versus Grid. In a grid, if you say in this grid, I want two components, there will be two components and each of them will take half the screen. You see, if it is three, each of them will take a third. It is strictly like that. But in terms of Flex, it expands according to content and collapses. So normally, if you're using Flex in like an e-commerce in that example, that product card, you'll need to give it each of them a width. If there is no content or there is content, it must always be the same to ensure that your website looks good. But yeah, I wanted to share a bit of that in terms of when you're using grid versus Flex. Yeah, so you can, okay, yeah, it's great, great. And also, yeah, if you have any of these questions, maybe later when you're trying to do something and you are stuck, or maybe you don't understand something, just ask, inquire in the WhatsApp group. I'm always there, and even the peers are also there.
Yeah, that was well explained and shown in the code. So, any other question? Okay, which WhatsApp group? Because I'm not from Chuka. We have a GDG WhatsApp group. You can request to be added there. You can text either Emmanuel or hi or Kelvin. Do you have any of the
Yes, so
contacts you should share?
let me send the invitation link here so that you can just open it and join.
Okay. Kimaru will be sharing the group link in a while. Any other question?
Okay, so yeah, the link has been shared. You can click on that or copy it and save it if you want to maybe transfer it to your phone to open it.
Any comments, suggestions? Okay, I guess that's it for today. I'll be sharing the slides in our WhatsApp group in case you want to go through them. And yeah, Kimaru, anything? Kelvin, anything to add?
So that WhatsApp link is for the community at large. I shared that so that you join the community, then you can find the individual groups like web development. So I share it in general so that you can also get updates in terms of when you're having an event. We are maybe when you're having an event, you'll find maybe mostly it will be shared in the announcements or in the main conversation group. So either of those two. That's why I decided to share the parent group instead.
Okay, you're welcome, Immaculate. And yeah, thank you for attending this meetup or session. And see you this week. Yeah, see you later this week. Bye. Unless anyone has